Hello everyone, I'm Kevin, otherwise known as Form BX257, here to bring you another old G.I. Joe toy review. Today I'll be doing the 1982 HAL, or the Heavy Artillery Laser with Grand Slam. When they decided to call this thing a Heavy Artillery Laser, they really mean it. This is a very large toy. It's possibly the largest towed vehicle there is, and certainly one of my favorites. Among the other one would be the mountain howitzer. The base swivels. Of course, it has rolling wheels. It has one completely folding in leg. There is actually a peg underneath here. It's hard to see that there's a peg underneath here, which hooks onto a slot on this one leg, and it holds it in fairly well. Of course, there's the two trailing arms, which go together and form the tow hook. Admittedly, one of the things that I don't particularly like is the rather loud ratcheting that this thing does. Now, it's great that it has a ratchet. A lot of the elevating mechanisms on G.I. Joe toys do have a ratchet, but this thing is particularly loud. One of the things I had mentioned on the top 5 of my worst G.I. Joe toys in my collection is that this thing does not have a particular surprise gimmick. Whereas the Vamp had the recoiling machine guns, and the MMS also had a secret storage for the computer stand. I had accused the HAL of not having that little extra bit. Fortunately, a lot of people corrected me and said that that's actually what this loud ratcheting is. There is actually a metal bar in here, and that's the special feature. And of course, when you're ratcheting it back downwards, it certainly has a nice, very subtle clicking noise. While the HAL might be easy to find on the aftermarket, it's usually not easy to find one complete, because there are 3 major problems with the HAL. One being the small leg is fairly easy to lose. It's just sort of held in there by gravity. Another thing is that the computer targeting system for the driver gunner is easy to pop out. Yeah, it doesn't really snap in there, so that's often lost. The third thing I'd like to mention is that the tips of the lasers is actually made of a different material than the rest of the toy. So these often become very brittle over time, and these snap very easily. So if you do get one of these, please be careful not to put too much pressure on the laser gun tips. Another reason why I like the HAL so much is because, well, it comes with Grand Slam. Grand Slam came in 2 different versions. One which is a straight arm version for the 1982 year, and a swivel arm version for the 1983 year. Of course, this is the 1982 version. Of course, I like the whole sculpt because I like Flash, and he has a very similar sculpt, so this makes a really nice variant. He came with a clear visor on his helmet, which is removable. Of course, his helmet is removable as well. And here he is with Flash, and you can see the difference. It's a very slight color difference, so you'll have to be careful about looking for a Grand Slam on the aftermarket, as I think there are quite a few less of the Grand Slams than there are Flashes. People might be selling one of these with Flash parts, and you have to be very careful about that. The green plastic for Grand Slam is, of course, quite a bit darker. Flash comes with brown gloves and brown shoes, and whereas Grand Slam is black. Putting Grand Slam into the HAL is fairly easy. So it's a fairly open and fairly non-restrictive seat and cockpit here. However, you'll note that there is a foot peg for his left foot. And you don't really have to put that in there, as it can be a little bit a little bit tricky to get his foot in there. And on the top, there is a joystick for the firing mechanism, and you can just put his hand over the thing. Try not to actually try and force his hand onto that joystick, as it is a bit thick. As a matter of fact, I don't think you can actually do that with a straight arm figure, but if you have a swivel arm figure, you might be tempted to try and put the hand actually onto that joystick, and that might be a bit of a problem. I would say it would probably snap the thumb off. One of the things that I like to do is I like to have this hooked up to the Mobat. I realize that there's a big trend to putting the HAL with the vamp because of the whole 1984 Sears vamp and HAL 2-pack, but because this actually has storage for the figure, I like hooking up to the Mobat instead. As you can see, the Mobat actually has quite a bit more clearance in its tow hook than the Vamp does. So it's fairly easy just to take this thing on and off, because the tow holes on the HAL are kind of spade-shaped. So they're actually quite large, and sometimes get kind of locked in there if you put this onto the Vamp. The Mobat, no problem. Well, that's all the time I have right now. Please check out my Facebook page for more information and behind the scenes photos for these reviews. Thank you for watching this video, and stay tuned for next time to see another 1980s G.I. Joe toy review. See you then.